Hi everyone, it's John here back again with another form of visual art. If you're new here, you're most welcome, and if you've been here before, thank you so much for returning. This is a voiceover which explains why my lips are moving differently in the video, and I think I just needed to explain a little bit about today's content. So today it's textile design and we're just about to get a little bit practical in tie and dye making. Before we get practical, I'll first share with you my plans and expectations. I'll also show you some of the materials that I've gathered so far. So what I have right here are colored bazaar fabrics with one white bazaar fabric. Then the last three are all cotton fabrics, all white. So we might have to try the white cotton fabric. Although I want to use the bazaar fabric, but let's try with the cotton fabric. If things don't work out, we'll do the bazaar later. And right here I also have my book which has my notes, like the procedure right here, the materials that I need, the measurements for the dyes and the chemicals, and then the colors that I will be using. So a little bit about my plans and expectations as I show and label these materials for you. I'm trying to make a tie and dye piece in order to see some specific color reaction. So I'll make a purple tie and dye piece using the gathering technique with vat dyes. But then in order to get the purple color, I don't want to use the purple vat dye. I want to mix the red vat dye and the blue vat dye. And I want to do that directly onto the fabric. This is experimental. I hope you find it fun and productive in color mixing and color matching as I do. About the colors, I really hope that you understand the color theory or the color wheel, because right here we're dealing with primary colors and secondary colors. The color that I'm trying to come up with is a secondary color, and we're going to get the secondary color using the primary colors. The primary colors are colors like red, yellow, and blue, and the secondary colors are colors like purple, green, and orange. And I find the primary colors so important because we can use the primary colors to produce the secondary colors. So now right here, we're going to use these two primary colors, blue and red, to find our secondary color, which is purple. I hope that makes sense. And furthermore, about mixing colors, if we had yellow vat dye here, we would mix yellow and red to get the orange secondary color, and we would also mix yellow and blue to get the green secondary color. That makes more sense. Primary colors can produce the secondary colors. So I have only primary colors and yet I want a secondary color. So let's see how this works. We will learn more about the color wheel and color theory. If you need to, let me know in the comment sections and you'll have the video. So now let's get handy. First, I don't want to get every place dirty because vat dyes can really stain like the floor and stuff. So I have a spot outside. I'm just going to clean it a little bit and then we get handy. And I will explain the procedure as we do the work. So stay tuned, don't miss this. This is going to help you in color matching as well as color mixing. Okay, now this place is clean enough, although it still looks dirty. That's because it had a lot of taka and it has never been used for something like this. So the first thing that we're going to do is dip our fabric into water, just cold water. That's to remove any excess starch from it. Then lay it flat on the floor and start applying the technique. Our technique is gathering. It's all about pinching and pulling your fabric together in one spot before you apply the vat dye on it. This is supposed to give you some random textural look once all the colors have been applied. So let's just gather our fabric and then get to the color application. Also, dipping your fabric into water first helps it to stay in place. Any technique used does not unfold, but it stays. Now that we're done gathering, next we are mixing our first color. While doing this, you always have to start with your lighter or your lightest colors depending on the number of colors you're using. So mix and apply your lighter color or your lightest color, then the darker color, then the darkest color. You have to go from the lightest to the darkest. This way all the colors will participate, they will all be visible and stuff. But if you do vice versa, some of the colors are going to be hidden. If you start with the darkest to the lightest, probably the lighter colors won't be seen. So among the two colors that we have, red and blue, red is lighter, and so we're starting with red. The second important part about mixing is the measurements. Now this may depend, but we were taught to use spoons for measuring. If you have 1 spoonful of the VAT dye, you need to measure 2 spoons of each chemical, and that goes onto a fabric measurement of 3 yards. But then our fabric here is only 1 yard, and so I'm using half a spoon of the VAT dye and 1 spoon of each chemical. That should be very enough. And done. Now that we've finished the measurements of the VAT dye and the chemicals, let's go to the third and the last important part of measurement: hot water. Had we used the 1 spoonful measurement of VAT dye, we would be needing like 2 cups of hot water in 500 ml, but since we used half a spoon, we only need 1 cup of hot water in 500 ml. But I don't have the 500 ml size cup, so I'm using the 350, which is why I've added 1.5 cups of hot water. Mix this carefully before you pour it onto your fabric. You don't want the color to remain thick under your bucket. Once you've mixed properly, just apply. Color looks green, but trust me, this is red. Once it's fully registered, it's going to become solid red, like really red. This is one of the things that I love about making tie and dye pieces: the color behavior in general, how the colors react on the fabric, how the colors transform, and all that. So what I'm doing right now is opening spots to save this red color so that the next color doesn't enter or change the red. I want the red from the inside to remain red. That's what I'm doing, pouring red inside the gathers. You'll see. And also now the red is fully registered, it's red. So let's go to the next color. Don't allow it to dry, just go to the next color, which is blue. We're simply going to mix it the same way and just pour it on top of our red fabric. And now the thing is, this is where it should get interesting, especially for me, because I want to see the color transformation. I want to see the blue landing onto the red and slowly transferring into purple. This is where it gets more challenging. The experiment is kind of getting intense for me here, but I just want purple. It doesn't matter how or when the purple comes, maybe after some time or after the fabric is being washed or something, but I just want purple. Even in the finished product, purple please, I need purple. As our fingers are crossed, let's wait for our purple. And so we're going to allow our VAT dyes to register into the fabric for about 15 to 20 minutes before we wash off the excess dye. You see why I had to do this from outside and far away? Yeah, it gets the place a little bit messy, not a little bit, extremely messy. I'm so impatient. I'm checking for the purple. I see some hopes, and yeah, let's wait for the 15 or 20 minutes to pass. Yay, our minutes are done, and I can see purple. I see a lot of purple on this fabric, although I see a lot of like strong blue and strong red, but don't mind that because we're going to wash off the extra dylones. Like, we're going to wash off those strong colors that are still popping, the primary colors that are still so visible. We don't have to overwash. Dip in the first water, dip in the second water, spread it on the wires, let it dry. Once it's dry, you iron it and your product will be mint. So wait for the review. Do you see color texture? Yeah, this is what the gathering technique in tie and dye process means. It gives you some textural looks. And do you see purple? Yeah, and that is what it means to use primary colors to make a secondary color. So I would say this wasn't a failure. It's a bit of a success because I didn't know what would come out. I still see my purple and I still see my primary colors that I used to get the secondary color. So I can easily tell someone I used blue and red to get purple, and the person would understand, hopefully. So I would give myself, I don't know, 70 or 80 because I'm not used to 60s, 50s, you know. So yep, I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know because I enjoyed making it. All right, so this is it for today's video. See you in my next video. Ciao.